Alright guys, it's gonna be a little bit more of a serious video. Um it's it's not like a serious like oh someone just died type of video, but it's gonna be more serious than normal. So I'm not gonna get the same like excited and whatever that I usually get. Okay. So Zion Williamson, um, star player at a Duke for the Pelicans. Great dude. He can jump out of the gym, insane player. I made a video talking about why I think the Pelicans are the best young team moving forward. Um, and of course, something like this rolls around. Zion is being accused of profiting off of himself and taking under the table money. Um, yeah, from Duke. And people on Duke's behalf. Okay, so I think that I'm not going to go into whether or not I think he did it or whether or not I think he accepted money. Because frankly, I don't care whether he accepted money or not. And that's what we're about to get into. I am going to talk about the NCAA and why they are corrupt, and then we're going to transition that into talking about some NBA owners, some, not all, some, not all, some, not all NBA owners that are also like in it for themselves and like that kind of um I'm not going to say any words on this channel, but they're not great, some of them, and we're going to get into it. Okay. The NCAA, their goal is to make as much off of the player as possible. I want to say that one more time. Their goal is to make as much off of the player as possible. Everyone gets paid. The people running the schools get paid. The people at the top running the NCAA get paid. The people working the TV get paid. The coaches get paid. The people, even the ball boys get paid, although that's whatever. Everyone gets paid except for the player. So they are doing whatever it is to prevent the player from making money to support their family. And I think that's criminal because they've worked their whole life to do this, and now you're profiting off of their work. I'm going to say that again. You're profiting off of their work. That's not fair, and it is completely unjust. And that's the number one thing. I mean, Stephen A. agrees with me. Max Kellerman agrees with me. When they both agree, that's the correct point because they almost never agree. So, yes. All right. Now, okay, so we've established that the NCAA is corrupt. They're in it for themselves, not looking out for the players. Okay, whatever. Now, the NBA is the owners. Some of the owners are good. Some of them are respectful. Mainly, I'm going to go at the small market owners here, mainly. Like, for example, the Pelicans with Anthony Davis. So, players request trades because they want to get out of a bad situation. You go into your first contract as an NBA player, and you're tied there for, I think it's roughly, it's 7 years. You have to be in your first location, and you have no choice over where you go because that's where you're drafted to, and there's nothing you can do about it, and you make not, like, superstar level money when you, after a year or two, are likely, if you're a high pick, deserve that kind of money. So, now, players want to change spots in some cases because their team's bad and they want to win and they want to increase their legacy. They're not making enough money. There's tons of reasons. And, I think that's just like business and should be treated as business. Now, executives will trade players, and that is, again, business being treated as business, and that's one thing. But what I hate more than anything is how we have, if the Pelicans don't want, okay, Anthony Davis demands a trade to the Lakers, he's on the Pelicans. If the Pelicans don't want to trade him, that's one thing. But what I hate is other small market owners who can't attract free agents because their culture sucks, calling up the Pelicans, telling them not to trade him to Los Angeles because they don't want to give him what he wants because they are against the player having rights. That is unacceptable and should have no place in the game because owners want to control their players, and it is really criminal because look at what happened to DeMar DeRozan. He got shipped off to San Antonio. He wanted to be a Raptor for life, and now he's just out of there because the owner wants him out. And they wanted to get Kawhi because that's their best chance to win. And I'm not saying they shouldn't do that because getting Kawhi was a good move and they won the chip. But you can't say stuff against guys like Anthony Davis for trying to get a better situation for himself. The executives should be doing their job to make the team the best. The players should be doing the job to get their scenario and get what they want. And both should be doing their business, and whoever, you know what I mean? Like, both sides should be doing their business. Okay. Now, we're about to get into the third part of this conversation, which is going to be a lot more of an uncomfortable part of this conversation. I'm going to say that it's the elephant in the room. Pretty much every owner is white, and most players are black. I'm not saying that, like, the owners directly hate black people, because I don't think they don't, and I think most owners are fine. I don't think most owners are racist, but I think that there is a level of, I want to say, they feel they need to control, they want to have the control in that relationship between the player and the executive. The executive wants the control, and I think a part of that has to do with race. I'm not going to go and state examples. I'm not going to argue why certain executives are racist. I'm just going to say that is something that should, if you're watching this video, should go to your back of your mind, and you should think about it, and not take a strong stance or anything, just think about that. So yeah, they don't want them to have power. And this is the NFL. I'm just going to use it as an example of, and this is the NFL. The Cowboys not paying Dak Prescott. Maybe he's asking for an absurd amount of money, but I think if they had done the contract negotiations last summer, then he would have taken less money, and it would have been better for everyone. But they didn't respect him and pay him the money. They wanted to hold out leverage and see if they can try to negotiate the deal better, and I feel like Stephen A. has said this. They wouldn't do that to Tony Romo. And Tony Romo's white. They would just give him the money. And nothing against Tony Romo, nothing against the Dallas Cowboys organization. I'm just saying, like, as an example, they are not giving the black quarterback the keys to the franchise. And I feel like that is not bad, because I think Dak Prescott is a very good quarterback. I think he's upper half for sure, maybe top 10, but he's a very good quarterback. So that's kind of slimy in my opinion. And when you take all this into account, I think the moral is the executives want control, the people in the NCAA want control, and everyone is trying to profit off of the player. But the one person who we are upset at in the initial example, Zion Williamson, who wanted to profit off of himself, we're only upset at the player when it should be taken out on the owners and the people up above, because they are the ones who are profiting, and it's not fair. It should be changed. College athletes should be paid, and this whole allegations against Zion is complete BS. And comment. I want to get your take on this, and yeah, that's about it. Peace.